Assalamu alaikum everyone. In today's session, we are going to explore some of the most pressing forces that shape logistics and supply chain management in the 21st century: population growth and urbanization. These are not abstract demographic statistics, they are living realities that affect how much food needs to be transported, how many warehouses are needed, how much water is consumed, how congested our cities become, and how businesses like Daraz, Engro or Baikia design their entire operations. In our earlier weeks, we discussed the science of sustainability and the triple bottom line. We learned that business decisions cannot be separated from ecological and social realities. Today, we apply that principle to the actual dynamics of human population. How many people live on earth, where they live, and what their demands mean for supply chains and logistics system. By the end of this lecture, you should be able to understand the link between population growth and resource constraints. Number 2, explain the concept of a finite planet and why infinite growth is impossible. Number 3, analyze the drivers and consequences of urbanization, especially in developing countries like Pakistan. Number 4, recognize the logistical pressure on growing cities, from traffic to food security to infrastructure challenges. So, let's begin by tackling the first major theme: population growth. Let me start with a question. What happens when you add just one more person to a community? The answer may seem simple at first: another mouth to feed, another body to house, but in fact, every additional person adds multiple layers of demand: more food, more clean water, more energy, more consumer goods, more transport services, and more waste and pollution. For supply chain managers, this means that population growth is directly tied to rising demand and rising pressure on logistics systems. Population and resource demand. The basic logic is straightforward. The larger the population, the higher the total planetary impact. Every new individual reduces the per capita share of finite resources, whether it is arable land, fresh water or energy. This is what sustainability scholars call the finite planet constraint. Infinite population growth is physically impossible in a world where natural resources are limited. Think of Earth as a warehouse where fixed storage space. You can rearrange the shelves, you can optimize the layout, but you cannot expand the walls infinitely. Similarly, human society must operate within the ecological boundaries of a planet. The United Nations project that by the 2100 the global population may reach 10.9 billion people. But here is the catch: the optimal population for a good quality of life is much smaller than the maximum number the earth can physically sustain. The challenge for policy makers, businesses, and especially supply chain managers is to balance population needs with ecological productivity. Harmonizing population and ecosystems. Sustainability requires population growth to be in harmony with ecosystem capacity. This means two things. Number 1, equitable access to constrained resources so that both wealthy and poor communities can meet their needs fairly. Number 2, technological shifts, using innovations to relieve ecological bottlenecks. For example, efficient irrigation systems can produce more food with less water. Renewable energy can meet growing demand without exhausting fossil fuels. Take the case of Shan Foods, a well-known Pakistani spice manufacturer. If Pakistan population keeps growing at its current rate, the demand for wheat, rice and spices will rise significantly. But if soil fertility is exhausted or irrigation water becomes scarce, Shan's supply chain is at risk. To prevent this, Shan must work closely with farmers, encouraging sustainable practices like crop rotation and drip irrigation. In this way, a company can align population-driven demand with ecological realities. Number 2, urbanization, urban growth. Now, let's move to the second major force reshaping supply chains, urbanization. Urbanization is simply the demographic shift from rural living to urban living. But beneath this definition lies a major transformation. Urbanization usually accompanies structure changes in economies, from agriculture to industry, from industry to services, and now toward technology-driven enterprise. In cities, economies of scale allow industries to grow, infrastructure to be shared, and services to cluster. This makes cities hub of opportunity, but also zones of vulnerability. Scale and projection. Right now, more than half of the world's population lives in cities. By 2050, this number will grow to 7 out of 10 people, about 6.5 billion individuals living in urban areas, and crucially, most of this growth will happen in the cities of developing countries including Pakistan. Think of Karachi, Lahore, Faisalabad or Islamabad. Every year, millions migrate from rural areas to these cities in search of jobs, education and better opportunities. This rapid growth brings both promise and peril. Let's talk about some key urban challenges. Poverty and inequality. Despite glittering mansions and new skyscrapers, many urban dwellers remain poor. Urban poverty is different from rural poverty because it is often hidden. People may have access to food in markets, but they may not afford it. Informal settlements in Karachi or Lahore often lack clean water, proper sanitation and safe housing. This vulnerability amplifies the impact of ecological or social crisis. Number 2, food security. Unlike rural populations, urban residents are net buyers of food. They do not grow their own crops. Their access depends entirely on reliable logistics system. Even when food is available nationally, spatial constraints, distance from production zone and financial constraints, income inequality mean that many urban households remain food insecure. This is especially true during shocks such as floods, pandemics or fuel price hikes. Number 3, logistical pressures. Urbanization dramatically increases demand for transportation and storage. More trucks, more delivery vans, more warehouses are required. But this also means more congestion, higher fuel use, greater air pollution and strain on infrastructure metals like steel and copper. Think about this. How many of you have waited extra hours for an online order to arrive in Karachi or Lahore? Often, the delay is not due to stockouts, but due to traffic congestion in urban delivery routes. This is a prime example of how urban growth translates into logistical bottlenecks. Consider Daraz, Pakistan's largest e-commerce platform. During flash sales of 11/11, urban logistics network are pushed to the edge. Riders working for Bikeya or other delivery services face clogged roads, high fuel prices and sometimes unsafe conditions. As cities expand, these problems magnify. Companies must therefore design smarter logistics such as route optimization, use of electric bikes or micro warehouses closer to customers. Urban pollution and infrastructure strain. Increased urban freight traffic leads to air quality deterioration. Warehouses consume large amounts of energy, often from fossil fuels. Road expansion consumes land and construction materials, further straining the ecosystem. From a sustainability perspective, every urban logistics decision must weigh the triple bottom line: profit, timely deliveries, reduced cost, and planet, which is lower emissions, less congestion, and people, healthier workers, safe neighborhoods. So, dear students, today we laid the groundwork for understanding how population growth and urbanization are not just demographic shifts, they are sustainability challenges with direct implications for logistics and supply chain management. We saw that population growth increases demand but reduces per capita resources, forcing supply chains to innovate and adapt. Urbanization reshapes economies but also creates hidden poverty, food insecurity, congestion and pollution. For companies like we talked about, Shan, Food, Daraz or Baikia, these pressures are not external, they are daily operational realities. As future supply chain managers, you must always connect demographic trends with logistical design. Population and urban growth are not background statistics. They are central forces that shape your strategies, risks, and opportunities. In our next lecture, we will extend this discussion to water, perhaps the most critical resource for both populations and supply chains, and explore the systematic implications of sustainability science for logistics. Thank you, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you in the next lecture.